It's time for Baby and Toddler Instructions with host Blythe Lipman. Blythe is a nationally renowned infant and toddler expert who has over 30 years' experience helping moms and dads regain their sanity, teaching them how to survive, and giving them the confidence they need to be the best parents ever. From sleeping, to crying, to potty training, to choosing a preschool, and so much more. If you're a parent, Baby and Toddler Instructions is the show you've been looking for. Now here's your host, Blythe Lipman.
Well, good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever in the world you might be. Thanks so much for tuning in to Baby and Toddler Instructions. Today's show is live. It is May 18th, 2016. So if you have a question, a comment, or just want to say good morning, then you can call us at 877-864-4869. If you're listening to a podcast, of which you can go to toginet.com, iTunes, Stitcher, and of course my website, mybestparentingadvice.com. I have over 200 shows and wonderful guests. You can always contact me via my website, mybestparentingadvice.com. And today I have another wonderful guest that will be with us in just a few minutes. Her name is Zeidman, the founder of the Ollie Swaddle. And boy, I can't wait to talk to her because she has a new product out, and I just love the swaddle, and she's so great. But first, let's see a few things to share. This past weekend was my grandson's first birthday, and he took a couple steps yesterday. Yay! But I have to tell you, it was really funny because those of you that are expecting or have a baby, remember the first birthday is for you, the parents. The baby could care less because little Alex took his bottle and fell asleep in Grandma's arms. So what can I say? And the other really funny thing was that he didn't even like the cake. Mom put a piece in his mouth and he spit it out. Maybe that's good for the future. Who knows? He did like his presents. He's into trucks. So I'll post some pictures like I always do. Anyway, it was lots of fun, and I can't believe he's a year old. So it's amazing. It goes so fast. Make sure you enjoy each moment. Before you know it, they're going to kindergarten, they're in high school, they get their license. Anyway, we won't go there. There were a couple of recalls today. Hobby Lobby recalled not only the infant pacifier, but also infant rattles, the fin of the whale, and the head of the octopus on this infant pacifier it's a pacifier holder. Compose a choking hazard. I don't know if it comes off. Also, the rattle seams can separate, exposing the fiber stuffing, and bell rattle, posing a choking hazard. Yeah, you know what? We don't want any of that to happen. So if you have the whale, an octopus pacifier holder, and the infant rattle, please contact the company. It will be on my website, mybestparentingadvice.com, under recalls. Also, the Pacific Cycle recalled infant bicycle helmets with the magnetic no-pinch buckle chin straps. The magnetic buckle on the strap contains small plastic covers and magnets. No, I don't want to hear this. That can come loose, and of course it goes right in the mouth. You know, those of you that listen every week know that a couple weeks ago my grandson swallowed a button battery. And here's a magnet. You know, I don't care what it looks like. If it's little and they like to pick things up, it's going to go right in the mouth. So if you do have that Pacific Cycle infant bicycle helmet, it was sold exclusively at Target. Call them. The numbers are on my website, mybestparentingadvice.com, along with their online addresses. And you can always go to cpsc.com for recalls. Also, since we're going to be talking about swaddling today with Zeidman, there was a really interesting article in the Wall Street Journal. It says, a parent's hard milestone. Infants can easily be sleep trained to sleep through the night at 2 months old, some pediatricians say. Most say 4 to 6 months. Allowing a baby to cry for more than an hour while sleep training isn't harmful, says experts, so most babies won't cry that long. Yeah, right. Research shows crying it out sleep training also is called extinction, and it doesn't negatively affect children's long-term mental and physical health. If parents don't intervene when an infant cries at night, sleep training can be accomplished in as little as 3 days. There is the Tribeca Pediatrics in California, and the pediatrician says that sleep training is when parents don't intervene when a baby cries at bedtime. And he says that Tribeca Pediatrics says it's unusual in recommending sleep training at such a young age. Yeah, I haven't heard it so young because they don't sleep very long. I'm sorry, the Tribeca Pediatrics is in New York City and 2 are in LA. You know, the pediatric, let's see. In the journal Pediatrics, researchers in Australia followed 326 children from 7 months to 5 years, and about half the babies were assigned to behavioral sleep intervention, including extinction. And, you know, basically it said it worked for some, didn't work for others. And it's really interesting with sleep training. You know, the bottom line is no matter what you decide to do, it has to work for your family. And I can tell you, if you start sleep training and baby gets sick, you're going to have to start all over again. If you start sleep training and they're crying, and you can't take it, you know what? It's okay to let it go. The toughest thing for parents is to hear your baby crying at night. Crying anytime, but especially when you're trying to sleep train. And, you know, I never heard this extinction word as crying it out. But, again, you're not there and you don't go into them. So all I'm going to say is take a look at the Wall Street Journal. The article is called A Parent's Hard Milestone. And again, do what works for your family, because the bottom line is everybody needs sleep. That's why I always say if you're a new parent, when that baby takes a nap, take a nap. Dishes will still be there. Laundry will still be there. Everything. So if you want to try to sleep train at 2 months, you know what? If that works for you, great. If it doesn't, please don't beat yourself up. Whatever you do is wonderful, especially as a first-time parent. You've never done this before. So go with your heart. And if something doesn't work, do something else. It's all right because you love your baby, no matter what you try to do to get them to sleep or eat or whatever. And if you do have an issue, I have been doing this for over 40 years. And you can always contact me via my website, mybestparentingadvice.com. I do in-home telephone and Skype consults, and I have hundreds of tips to help you, some you've never thought of. And I'm going to share something when I talk to Hindi about the swaddling. So let's see, what else? Do we have anything else before I introduce her? One other thing. I was reading the paper this morning, our Arizona paper, and it says the infant child care in Arizona costs $9,437 a year per child for each, which is rivaling our in-state college tuition, putting care out of reach for many families. And, you know, I was a little upset because we're trying to pass Proposition 123 to give more money to the schools and the teachers. And I'm looking at this and, you know, we have to work. In this day and age, most parents have to work. And when you have two parents in a family that have to work, a lot of times they're doing it just to pay for child care. And this article points out something that is really so sad. It says families will often prioritize child care to the detriment of other budget areas like food and housing. And there's not enough food, or maybe there's not healthy food. Anyway, child care is tough. You have to find the right place. You have to be able to afford it. And this just really made me sad to see how expensive it is and see what the cost of living is. So I thought I'd share that. I can't tell you how to fix it. I really can't. I wish I could. I wish I had $1 million trillion. I would put it into child care all over the place. But anyway, thought I'd share that. But on a happier note, let me tell you about my guest this morning. Her name is Hindi Zeidman. She's an infant mental health clinician and the founder of the Ollie Swaddle Cozy Swaddling Solution, which does improve the quality and duration of sleep for all babies, including preemies and high risks, reduces fussiness, and helps a baby self-calm. Hindi developed and named the Ollie Swaddle after a foster baby boy named Oliver, who wasn't thriving until the swaddle was created. The award-winning Ollie Swaddle is made better, feels better, and it helps baby sleep better, which all new parents need. Ollie Swaddle's elasticity allows for freedom of movement while opening at the bottom. This is really neat. I mean, go to theollieswaddle.com if you're listening and take a look at this swaddle. It does allow for easy movement. There's down the bottom. It's elastic. It's one size, and it can be used as a transitional swaddle when the little ones roll back and forth and keeping the arms out. So take a look at the Ollie world.com. And I have to tell you, my daughter used this for my grandson when he was born, and it is really amazing. It's different than the other swaddles, and I'm going to let you tell her how, and we can talk a little bit about why, you know, how she came up with this, and if she had to try it on little Oliver a lot of times, or if it worked immediately. But I love the swaddle, and I know she's come out with some new products for this spring. So, Hindi, thank you for being on my show. How are you this morning?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for your beautiful words, too.
Oh, you know what? It's so true. Not only did Lindsay use it with little Alex, I've also have given your swaddle as gifts. I just gave it to one of my friends that became a grandma. I just gave it to her daughter, and she absolutely loves it.
That's so exciting. Thank you. I'm honored.
I love giving your swaddle as gifts. Your Ollie swaddle and my book. They make the perfect gift. A little plug there for both of us.
Yes, there you go. That's the perfect baby shower gift.
Yes, or even a new parent gift. You know, there's so many. I have to say this, and we both know this, and I'll say it quickly before the commercial break. There are many kinds of blankets and swaddle and sleep sacks and everything on the market. And I've seen them all, and I've talked about a lot of them, and I always go back to yours because the one thing that I love besides all of it is that when you go to change the baby's diaper, you do not have to take this entire swaddle off. You don't have to start all over again, especially if it's the middle of the night. You don't want to turn your light on, and you don't want the baby to know that, you know, babies don't know what time it is, so they may think it's time to play at 3 o'clock in the morning, and you can just so easily change the baby's diaper and then put the swaddle back on. So I do love yours. And we're going to have our first break. I don't mean to interrupt you. We're going to have our first break just in about 30 seconds. And when we come back, I want you to talk about how easy the Ollie swaddle is. And I have questions. And if anybody has a question out there during the show, if you're listening live today, call us at 877-864-4869. I am here today with Hindi Zeidman. And also go check out the ollieworld.com, and you will see what this wonderful swaddle looks like. And you're going to want to order one right now, I know, especially during the spring, Hindi. All these babies are hatched like little eggs. And, you know, again, it's a great gift. So here comes the music, and we will be right back. Stay with us.
We'll be right back with more Help My Baby Came Without Instructions. It's Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet. We'll be right back right after these.
Do you ever wonder if you're the only woman who runs errands in her yoga pants so it will look like she went to the gym? Or how about the only mom who feeds her kids raw cookie dough? Or are you the only one who cooks her family cold cereal for dinner? Do you need more laughter and less loudness? More self-love and less self-loathing? More joy and less judgment? You're not alone. Come to the living room, a place where we get comfy, candid, and confident together. Come seeking sanctuary and leave feeling renewed. We're saving a seat for you. Give yourself some living room today.
How do you feel about double dipping? You know, when someone picks up a chip or a shrimp, dips it into the sauce, enjoys the taste, and then dips again. I've always been jubbers, that means suspicious, of the communal dip bowl. Refraining from dipping into a delicious crab dip might be too irresistible for an opsophagist. That's a person who loves delicacies. Thick dips such as cheese, chocolate, and hummus are safer with fewer bacteria. Salsa is runny, and so more bacteria can get back into the bowl. To take the hammer glamour or confusion out of it, think of it this way. Before you double dip at a party, you might ask yourself, do I want to kiss everyone here? Of course, that might depend on who's at the party.
It's words you never
I'm Carolyn Davidson, and you can have fun challenging your words you never heard vocabulary with my free app, Too Funny for Words.
Welcome back to Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet, the hour for all moms with little ones to come for great advice, encouragement, and great ideas for all new parents. Now, back to the show with Blythe Lipman.
Well, welcome back to Baby and Toddler Instructions. My name is Blythe Lipman, and I host the show and have done it for over 7 years and have had over 200 guests. And if you are listening, my guest this morning is Hindi Zeidman, and she is the founder and creator of the Ollie Swaddle. So if you just tuned in, Hindi, tell my listeners, why swaddle? You know, people have said you have to be careful, and they talked about hip dysplasia one year, and in Arizona, all the hospitals said no more swaddling, and the parents were all up in arms. Now, of course, we're back to swaddling. Thank goodness.
Yeah, I think, everything that people say you need to take into account. I think when swaddling is done correctly, it's a really effective tool. But, everybody does have to work on using it correctly, which, of course, is placing baby on their back. And with our swaddle, we have a custom fabric. It's actually a stretch. It's not only is it moisture wicking, but it's stretched. So that allows for the joints to have movement without putting constraint on them. That really helps to address the issues of things like hip dysplasia.
When you started doing this with Oliver, did you have a lot of tries, or did he just calm down?
Well, so what I had done is I had gotten every swaddle on the market. When I found out the importance of swaddling, I got everything. And that was a lot of my trial and error because nothing worked with him. And as I saw that nothing worked, I kind of was like, okay, well, this is what he needs, and this is what is not out there. And that's when I started creating the Ollie for him. And once he was able to be fully contained, that's when he was able to actually start sleeping.
It's interesting to see because I run an infant room, and we just got a couple of new babies in our room, and one is 12 weeks, and we have another one that's just 3 months old. And I can tell you, when they cry, unfortunately, we don't have the Ollie Swaddle in our room, but we need some, and I'm going to have to tell my director because it would be great to have this in the room. But what I do is take a blanket and wrap it around the baby's middle. One of them doesn't like their hands in already, and the other one is tiny, 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 and it's amazing when you swaddle your baby to see how they just calm down. It's like being in the womb, isn't it?
It absolutely is, and that's one of the important things about doing this transition is, it can be a traumatic ordeal to come from such a comfortable, wonderful, soothing place to the outside world. And the swaddle really helps to mimic that womb feeling.
It does, and I have to say, I know how to swaddle all different ways, but I love your swaddle because it's easy, and the baby stays where you put the baby. So many times they kick out of the swaddle, and you have to wrap one around the belly and tighten. If you don't do it tight enough, it comes out, and by then everybody's crying, especially if you're a new mom and you're so sleep deprived and your poor baby's screaming, and then you just can't get the swaddle right. You made it so easy.
Thank you. Yes, it is difficult. That's exactly what I was going through too, and having a crying, screaming baby just makes it, 1,000 times worse.
Oh, it does.
It's a difficult situation. You want it to be easy and quick, and the baby wants it to be easy and quick too.
The baby wants to feel better, and they can't tell you why they're crying. Babies cry for lots of reasons. They're hungry, they're tired, maybe they need to burp, but they can't tell you, or maybe they just want to cry. We cry for no reason, and then we feel
Absolutely.
better.
Right.
One of my favorite tips to do with your swaddle is to take it and just put it in the dryer just for a few minutes and get it nice and warm, and then swaddle your baby in a warm Ollie swaddle.
I love that. That's fantastic. That's a great tip.
Because think about us, even when we're tired or we have a cold or something and we just want to wrap up in our nice warm blanket. I don't care how old we are. Nothing better than wrapping up, and we're swaddling ourselves, aren't we?
It's so true. The crazy thing, I've had so many adults asking for an adult-sized Ollie. So people still want that feeling. It's true.
It's true. I think you should do it. I think you should make it. I don't know what you'd call it, but maybe the first person that asked you to do it, I think that would be great.
Okay, so, I will let you know if that happens. Promise.
And tell my listeners about the bottom, how it's so cool that you can change a diaper and you don't have to start all over again with a swaddle.
So the Ollie crosses, it's just the right side over the left side, and that's pretty much it. At the bottom, it cinches with an elastic loop. And it's almost like a hair tie. You just put the fabric through the elastic loop, and then when it's time to do a diaper change, or if it's anything like in the hospital where there's, something medical that's needed, all you do is take the elastic loop off, and it's easy access to the bottom.
It's really easy access. Also, a lot of babies don't like their arms in, so you can do it with one arm out, with two arms out. Did Oliver like his arms in or out?
He liked them in. He liked everything in. But you can absolutely, do whatever. The Ollie is really customized to be, an individualized fit for each little one. So whether, that's one arm out, or maybe they want their arms more in like a prayer position so they have access to their hands and it's a little more oral soothing, you can do that too.
And your baby will let you know. Your baby will let you know. And you know what? It cracks me up because sometimes they can get their arms out. You think you have their arms in so tight, and they don't want them in there, so they take them out. Have they come up? I don't mean to put you on the spot, but what are they saying about the arms? I mean, in the hospital, the nurses used to say, cross the arms. I'm sitting here doing this. Cross the arms across the baby's chest and swaddle them. And to me, I don't know, that never looked comfortable, but I'm an adult. And other ones said, put the arms down against the baby's sides. What have you found?
It's really different, and I think if you kind of poll different clinicians or different people in different professions, I think everyone kind of has their own technique. What we really like to say is, we like to leave it up to the parent and the baby. I think the parents have the best intuition, and they can really understand better what their baby needs and what their baby wants. Whether, rather than us come up with a 100%, this is how you do it.
I think you're absolutely right, because just when I was talking about the sleep training, this Tribeca Pediatrics is saying start at 2 months. And again, it's what works for your family. I always wonder how you sleep train a baby at 2 months, because to me, in all my years of experience, they eat such small amounts that their little tummies are not full for too long.
Yeah, I think, and it's very individual. Like we were saying, it depends on the family, the environment, the baby's affect. I mean, there's so many different elements to that.
There are so many elements, and the biggest thing is, we hate to hear our kids cry. I don't care what age they are, especially a little tiny baby at 2 months old that's crying, and they're talking about extinction, which basically is letting the baby cry it out, and it won't hurt them if they cry an hour. My goodness, I can remember 5 minutes seemed like 5 years when my children would cry. And for me, of course, I didn't try to sleep train them at 2 months, because who knew about sleep training, 30-some years ago.
Absolutely. Right.
It was different. It's really funny because I can remember when my children needed to go to sleep, we just laid them down. Time to go to sleep. We didn't rock. Of course we read books or maybe we sang, but we didn't spend an hour rocking. We didn't, do all kinds of things. It's time to go to bed, put them in the crib. One of my children was a really good sleeper. My other one, I'm not going to say which one, I swear, didn't sleep for the first 9 years. And you know who that is if you're listening. So just as we said, it's different for every child and every parent. But the one thing I always like to point out, and I know you'll agree, again, don't feel bad if you do something that somebody else isn't doing, or if somebody tells you to do it a certain way and it doesn't work for your family, because you're going to get lots and lots of advice from everybody. And just say thank you. Say thank you.
I think, yes. That's probably like the truest statement is, you know, you can read, like, we have a lot of testimonies where parents, you know, are so grateful because their baby's sleeping through the night or something like that. And then we'll have a parent say, oh, my baby's not doing that. Am I doing something wrong? And that's the one thing that we really want to get across is, no, you're not doing anything wrong. You're doing fantastic. But every baby is different. And it does not equal something that the parent is doing wrong.
No, I'm so happy you said that, because nobody's doing anything wrong. It's so funny because you try something, it works, it's wonderful, and then the baby does something different. And then you go, wait a minute, what did I do last night? Or what did I do yesterday? I forgot to do a step. And, you know, it's really easy for us to talk about this, but an expectant parent or a new parent, until the baby's in your arms and you start doing it, it's tough. So whatever you hear, it's great to remember. Remember everything we're saying out there, parents, because once you have your baby, you'll know that it's true. You can do whatever you want and whatever works for you. We're going to have a break in just a bit, but when we come back, I'm going to ask you a question that is not on our little list that we talked about. I'm going to ask you if you ever had some advice that didn't work or that you didn't like and how you handled it.
Okay, I'm ready. That sounds good.
Okay, and I'm trying to think what advice I have. I may share something too, because it's only fair if I ask my guests that question. And maybe I should ask Lisa. Lisa, you're there. Maybe you should type in what kind of advice you got that didn't work. Will be really fun. And then we can talk about what did work, because things work. You know what? Things change. Oh, good. Lisa's my producer. She's wonderful. She's typing to me that we have 15 seconds and we're counting down to the commercial. I just love her. She has a son, Asher. She's the greatest mom. And, you know, we talk during the commercial break all the time. And I love having her run my show. So when we come back, we're going to talk about parent advice, what you received. Please stay with us. Here comes the music.
Baby love, my baby love, I need you, oh, I need you.
We'll be right back with more help. For help, my baby came without instructions. It's Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet. We'll be right back right after these.
Baby love, my baby love, I need you, oh, I need you.
Have you heard? The pages of American Patchwork and Quilting magazine come to life on our new weekly online radio show, American Patchwork and Quilting. Join Pat Sloan, our blogging and quilt designer host, as she talks about the latest trends, ideas, and inspirations. Her guests include quilt pattern designers, authors, quilt shop owners, and our editors, all quilters, just like you. Call in with your questions. Get quilting tips from industry experts. Learn about free patterns. Hear behind-the-scenes stories from our magazines, American Patchwork and Quilting, Quilt Sampler, and Quilts and More. Get the scoop on free stuff and find out more about the best independent quilt shops in North America. To listen to a live show, tune in Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern. Just log on to allpeoplequilt.com/radio. To hear past shows, go to iTunes and search for American Patchwork and Quilting Radio. We hope you'll join us because we know that quilting changes everything.
Is there a particular food item that you absolutely crave to the point of madness? Then you're an opsomaniac like me. I love avocados, for instance. Probably because avocados have more protein, fat, and calories than any other fruit. Some folks are afraid of the avocado, nicknaming it the alligator pear for slippery and yucky. What's a word for the fear of food? Sitiophobia. Talk about yummy snacks, let's not forget potato chips. A pound of potato chips costs 200 times more than a pound of potatoes, or tater tatties as Aussies call them. The slang word spud derives from the spade-like tool used to dig them out. What's another word for mashed potatoes? Pachi.
It's words you never heard.
I'm Carolyn Davidson, and you can have fun challenging your words you never heard vocabulary with my new app, Too Funny for Words.
Welcome back to Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet, the hour for all moms with little ones to come for great advice, encouragement, and great ideas for all new parents. Now, back to the show with Blythe Lipman.
Well, welcome back to Baby and Toddler Instructions. I am here with my wonderful guest, Hindi Zeidman from the Ollie Swaddle. The Ollie Swaddle is the actual swaddle. Go to theollieworld.com to check out all her products. They're wonderful. We're talking about swaddling the baby, but we're also talking, before the break, I said I was going to ask Hindi and also my producer, Lisa, if they ever had some kind of wonderful advice, well-meaning. Remember, when anybody gives you advice, it's all well-meaning, that didn't work or that you thought was a little crazy. So, Hindi, you're on.
I've been trying to think about this. So I had a little bit of a different situation because, I didn't have like a nesting period. It was just I woke up one morning and there was my foster son at my door. So I didn't have lots of time for people to give me advice. So I really don't know how much it applied to me. I'm really trying to think. Can we go to Lisa first while I'm thinking?
Put me on
Lisa,
the spot.
are you there? Do you have to type it, or can you talk while we're on air?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Put me on the spot. I see. No, it's okay. Thank you.
I know. Sorry, Lisa.
Well, and I've been trying to think of how to word it.
Just say it.
Well, okay. Basically, I had been given advice of, let them cry themselves. We talked about this, cry themselves to sleep. And I tried, but I was in a different situation too. My husband was in Iraq at the time, and so I just had myself and my son. I found that it was much, much better just to let him co-sleep. And for me, that was, he still struggles with, going to bed if there's not a routine. But for us, having a routine that was together worked so much better than letting him cry, because I would have to cry too. So I think, like you said, Blythe, do what works for you.
That's just it, because then you have two people crying, and the baby's looking at you, and they feel your stress, and then they cry more.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm happy you said that, too, because you know what? That's what it's about. Hindi, did you come up with anything? Because you don't have to. I know. I
was told the same thing too. I was told just let your baby cry. But I had a drug exposed infant that all he did was cry. So I couldn't just do that. I had to do something more. So the crying it out did not work for me either.
No, the crying it out is tough. And I don't care how long the baby cries, because the thing is, they're tired and you're tired and they're crying. I believe babies cry for a reason. They need something. And to me, most of the time they don't need to just lay there and cry, especially if they're not used to being in a crib. If you've just introduced a crib, it's like being in the middle of the ocean. So that's why it's so important to get the Ollie Swaddle and swaddle your baby, because it makes them feel more compact. But, I had a piece of advice. It was really funny because it was summertime. I'll never forget this. And my mother-in-law said to me, we were taking a walk outside, and it was about 95 degrees. And she said to me, why doesn't Lindsay have a hat on? And I said, because it's hot and the stroller has this shade on it and nothing's going to happen. Well, she needs a hat. Babies need hats. And I wanted to say, well, you don't have a hat on either, but I didn't. I was very nice. And I just said, I finally said, be quiet, Blythe. Do not say anything. Just say thank you. And I did. I said, it's a great idea. Next time I take her for a walk, I'll put her hat on. You're probably right. So you may not have to go that far. You can just stop at the thank you. But again, it's well-meaning. And I found, this is funny, this perfect example. Some of the things that our mothers did, and even grandmothers with babies, they come back and they work, and you don't need to pay money for certain things. I always cite this example. When you give your baby a bath, there's all these wonderful new gizmos. They have a bathtub with a built-in thermometer. There's a duck. This one always made me laugh. You can float this duck in your baby's bath water. And if it's too hot, you can you can take the duck and you turn it over and it says hot, which is kind of ridiculous because you know when the bath water's too hot. And our mothers used to use their elbow, or they used to use the inside of their wrist to see what the temperature of the water was when you gave your baby a bath. So sometimes you go back to what they did. Anyway, back to the Ollie swaddle. Hindi, I have this question all the time, and I'm sure you do too. When do you stop swaddling?
That's a great question. We really like to approach that from more of a developmental milestone type of direction, because every baby is different, so we can't say, oh, it's this month or it's this weight. So really, it needs to be addressed when baby begins to roll by themselves from back to stomach. And at that point, you need to look at a couple options to either stop swaddling completely or start transition swaddling. And that's swaddling just basically the torso down, so taking one or both arms out.
So when they actually roll, it's fine. It's fine because of the way the swaddle works. They can't get the blanket, the swaddle blanket. I'm calling it a blanket, but it's a swaddle. Anyway, they can't get up in their face. If you use just a regular blanket, sometimes when they kick their feet out or they use their arms, many times you'll see a baby with the blanket, it's going up towards their face, and you'd never want anything on their face. They say never to put anything in the cribs now. We used to put blankets, and they used to have those really thick bumpers, which are a no-no now, too, because they can be dangerous. The babies can get themselves wedged underneath these bumpers. I love the breathable bumpers, but that's for another show. Anyway, tell my listeners about your new collection. The colors are beautiful.
Thank you so much. We spent a lot of time in research and development and really coming up with colors that are soothing. If you want to make sure that you are telling baby that it's time to sleep. And with these particular colors, that's kind of what it's reinforcing. If you do like really bold designs or black and white, sometimes that can be more stimulating to the eye and can almost have an opposite effect of what you're attempting to do. So we came up with a really soothing palette. It's called our Nature Collection, and we have 4 new colors that we've introduced. We have a brown that we call Nest. We have a gray, which is our Stone, a blue, which we call Sky, and a lavender.
And all those colors are really soothing. So were you just like having a hike one day and you went, wow, this would be great as a color? I would do that. I would come up and say, let's do some new colors.
Yes, well, we spent so much time in research and looking at so many different colors that before we finally picked this. But yeah, that was exactly it.
There's nothing more soothing because you're right. I love bright pink, fuchsia, and boy, that sure isn't a color to calm you down.
Exactly.
So you need
don't
something.
You don't want to send mixed messages to your little one. They sleep, but we're going to stimulate your eyes.
So what do you think about having these musical mobiles on the crib? Because I know sometimes some of the babies get overstimulated with that.
Yeah, I think, one of those things is it's different because for some babies it can be soothing to just kind of like go into that trance, where they're watching something and then they're able to like self-regulate and self-soothe. But particularly for those babies that really struggle with self-soothing, that can be difficult because that can stimulate their eyes and then their brain and then you end up having the opposite effect.
You know what? You're right. It's so true. And especially if you have a really little baby where they still have that Mora reflex where they jerk up when they hear a sound or something. I've seen parents turn on music and the baby has no clue. They don't know they're going to turn on music. And you'll see your baby jump and you'll see their hands go up in the air. And that's all about maturity. As they get older, that reflex disappears and they don't jump at every noise. So again, it's personal. I really love playing soft, soothing music for babies from day one. That's another one of my tips that I always share because if you do it just at sleep time, as your baby gets older, they will associate this particular music with sleep time. And I like the lullabies, and I like playing music without words, because if you play songs, you're going to have these words in your head 24/7. Again, it's personal. You know, I've had parents play loud music for their babies because, again, the womb is very noisy. If you've had an ultrasound, you know how noisy the noise is when baby's in your womb. But again, if you start from day one and you play soft music or white noise, you know, soft music's my choice. You can play white noise. Anything that's a noise, because they're used to that, it will make it easier as the baby gets older. And then if you go away, you know, whatever noise you're playing, whether you have a machine, whether you're playing it on one of your phones, all you do is take that with you. And if you're in a hotel room and it's noisy, or you happen to be on a floor near an elevator, if you turn that music on when it's sleep time, baby really starts to associate that particular type of noise with sleep time. So it's really a teaching tool as well as a calming tool. And if they're swaddled in the wonderful Ollie swaddle with the new Nature collection, then they'll sleep just as well.
That sounds wonderful.
It makes me tired. Maybe I could go to sleep now, but I won't, because we're going to have another commercial break in just a few seconds. And when we come back, I want to ask Hindi to tell us her favorite parenting tip. And they're launching a new blog, and there's going to be a summer tour with connecting parents and practitioners. And I'm going to have to ask her again how she does everything at the same time. Multitasking is a good thing, but you know what? Sometimes it's tough, but you have so many exciting things coming up. I can't wait for you to tell my listeners all about everything. And so if you're listening today, go to theollieworld.com. Take a look at the wonderful new colors, and the other colors are wonderful too. And think about how much you like to wrap yourself in a nice warm blanket. So that's why it's so important to swaddle your baby. It's like being in the womb, only outside. They'll sleep better. They'll calm down faster. I am a really big advocate of swaddling, as you can tell. And there's so many ways to swaddle with the Ollie swaddle. And also what Hindi said is when they roll over, it's still safe because their arms are out and they're not going to kick themselves out of it. So take a look, theollieworld.com, and also visit my website, mybestparentingadvice.com, because I will put all of her information on there, as well as the recalls and articles. And I have another new article coming up soon. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back with more Help My Baby Came Without Instructions. It's Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet. We'll be right back right after these.
It's words you never heard.
Did you hear about the Gaberlunzie bear caught rummaging through a refrigerator in an apartment in Colorado? The tenant heard noises coming from the kitchen and saw a bear with his head in the fridge, looking for anything it could eat. What's a word for food that's unfit for human consumption? Ma wallop. The tenant locked himself in his bedroom and called for help. What's a word for the fear of bears? Ursophobia. We have lots of bears near our Colorado cabin, and we have been told that pepper spray will keep them away. But the idea that it would keep a 500-pound grizzly bear from attacking seems ridiculous to me. I think I'll try the pepper spray on myself and hope the bear doesn't like spicy foods.
It's words you never heard.
I'm Carolyn Davidson, and you can have fun challenging your words you never heard vocabulary with my free app, Too Funny for Words.
It's words you never heard.
How do you feel about double dipping? You know, when someone picks up a chip or a shrimp, dips it into the sauce, enjoys the taste, and then dips again. I've always been jubbers, that means suspicious, of the communal dip bowl. Refraining from dipping into a delicious crab dip might be too irresistible for an opsophagist. That's a person who loves delicacies. Thick dips such as cheese, chocolate, and hummus are safer with fewer bacteria. Salsa is runny, and so more bacteria can get back into the bowl. To take the hammer glamour or confusion out of it, Think of it this way. Before you double dip at a party, you might ask yourself, do I want to kiss everyone here? Of course, that might depend on who's at the party.
It's words you never heard.
I'm Carolyn Davidson, and you can have fun challenging your words you never heard vocabulary with my free app, Too Funny for Words.
Welcome back to Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet, the hour for all moms with little ones to come for great advice, encouragement, and great ideas for all new parents. Now, back to the show with Blythe Lipman.
Well, I can't believe we're up to the last part of the show. It always goes so quickly. I always want more time, but I am here with Hindi Zeidman. She is from the ollieworld.com, has a wonderful Ollie swaddle in new colors with the Nature Collection, and we were trying to talk her into doing an adult swaddle. We're waiting. We're going to all be waiting, and you'll be back on the show to talk about for new parents, swaddle your baby and swaddle yourself. How would that be?
All right. I will be working on a prototype. I'll send you a prototype.
Okay. I'll test it. So, do you have a favorite parenting tip?
You know, it's kind of something that you mentioned earlier in the show, and this is the best thing that I've ever heard. It was my best friend told me, and she said, when he's sleeping, you sleep. And she said, don't worry about the dishes, the laundry, cleaning, all the other things you need to do. You do some self-care and take care of you.
I love that tip because I say that all the time. You know, even if you have older children, as women, as moms, we take care of ourselves last. And the older they get and the more activities they have, we still take care of ourselves last because I've seen so many parents that get sporting events and they have their laptops with them or they're on their phones and they're typing and they're not doing things just for themselves. They're doing something that I have to get this work done. I have to get this work done. And you'll hear so many parents say, yeah, I have so much to do. But I can say I love power naps. 20 minutes. For some reason, my entire life, if I would lay down to take a nap, I would wake up in 20 minutes. And boy, the world looked like a different place when I was so tired. So I love that tip. Yes, take care of yourself. Are you a napper?
I am a napper.
Yay.
I am a big advocate for napping, always.
Well, doesn't it help? Doesn't it really help?
I think it does wonders.
It really is. And you know what? And you can't lay down and you can't tell yourself, I really shouldn't be doing this. You have to lay down and say,
yes,
exactly. And you don't wait until you're ready to fall down, which we've all done many times, including me. So anyway, you are so busy. Tell me about the new blog you're launching.
So we're getting ready to launch our new blog. We really want to be, a good transition for parents to connect with practitioners. I think that people really are looking for a good place to have quality, valuable, reputable advice, and that's where we want that blog to be. So we feature some of our Ollie experts and topics and, some of the topics that our parents have requested, and just a real great community where we can bring everybody together.
And it's so important because where do we all go? I don't have a baby, I have a grandchild, but where do we all go first when we want to see what other people are doing and what they're saying? We don't call up grandma most of the time. We go online. And I think it's so important to see what people say, and that's how we try different things to see what works. What about, now you're doing a tour?
So we're looking at doing a tour as really bringing together the community. We love the idea of building a village and really finding that in your community. So we're looking at doing a tour, bringing together some of our Ollie experts, getting, meet the founder, and, doing some demonstrations, and just bringing everybody together.
Are you going to do the tour just where you live, or are you thinking about doing it all over the United States? What's the plan, or you don't know yet?
I don't know yet. My dream is to do it all over. I think we're going to start in Southern California and then kind of work our way around the country.
I think that would be great. I think it would be so great to bring people together and show them. You know, it's interesting too because I've talked to more than a few moms that don't know even what swaddling is and why it's important, and you know, of course, how to do it.
Yes. Yes. So that's where we would come together and let's talk about it. Let's talk about the history of it, and let's talk about the benefits. And you know, if there's scary, let's talk about the scary. You know, let's just talk about it all.
I think that would be great. So I think the next place you should do your tour is in Arizona because it's really close to California. And we have a lot of moms here, and I think it would be great.
Okay, because I would love that.
I know too. When I do my workshops and I bring one of your ollies with me, I ask that parents come try it because I think the hands-on is just so important. You know, you can tell people how to do it, and you do it this way and you do it that way. But if you have the opportunity to go to a workshop and you can actually try to do things, you know what I found too that's really interesting, and when you do your tour, you'll probably find this too. The dads to be are more willing to try to diaper a fake baby than the moms. The moms are like, they stand back, not because they don't know how to do it, but for some reason the dads always stand up and go, I'll try it.
Yes.
And then the moms
That's
come
so
up.
Funny.
And I think it's just great because, you know, years ago, dads were scared to touch the baby. Their hands are bigger. They're this little tiny baby. And many times, even my daughter said her husband could swaddle Alex better than she could. So,
oh, that's amazing. I love hearing that.
So it's
That's
great.
awesome.
Also, I forgot to ask you this. Your swaddle comes with a bag to put in the laundry. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so we just wanted to make it as easy as possible. We do have a custom Velcro that we use for the fit. So we provide a Delicates laundry bag. All you do is attach the Velcro, throw your ollie in the Delicates laundry bag, and throw it in the wash. And that way it won't, get caught on anything else, and you can wash it super, super easily.
I love that too because, as we know, it's like socks. They get lost or they stick to something, and this way you have your own bag for the swaddle. Because all you do when you have a baby, you do so much laundry. You're always doing laundry, and the thing that I love the best is, we had 2 ollies, and it was interesting because, of course, babies sometimes, not all the time, but they wet through things. And we always had the backup one, so we didn't have to go running and saying, is it in the laundry? Where is it? It's in the dryer. We just look for the bag.
Yes.
Which is really great. So
great.
Here's a question. Do you think moms swaddle boys more or girls more? Or it doesn't matter?
I am not sure. I have no idea about that one. I don't know. What do you think about that?
I tend to see moms swaddling boys more, which is pretty interesting. And I don't know, this is no test. I never did a study, but I've taken care of over 1,000 families with babies and toddlers, and it's interesting. I've always seen boys swaddled more. And maybe it's because they I can't say this. You know what? Every baby's different. I was going to say a lot of times boys are more active even when they're little tiny. They kick their feet more, they pull their arms out more, but that's not true. Every baby's different, so we're back to every baby's different, and you should swaddle everybody. That's what I think, including ourselves, because the new product will be coming up soon, right?
There you go. That's it right there, yes.
What could you call it? The Hindi swaddle. There
you go. Oh, yeah.
There it is. Well, we're giving you more to do besides a tour and a new blog and the new colors. And so tell my listeners, where can they get your product?
So we're available on our website. It's theollieworld.com. We are also on Amazon. And those are the 2 places where you can find us.
And it's really easy to order, and it's really easy to see how to do it. If somebody needs to contact you, can they contact you via your website too if they get the swaddle and they want to talk about it with you?
Absolutely. We do actually have a 24/7 chat box that's on our website that they can access, where they can actually speak to one of us, or they can send a email through our website, or they can contact us directly at care@theollieworld.com and send an email anytime.
And I have to say, Hindi or one of the people that work with her will get back to you really quick. It's not like you have to sit there for 3 days and wait. Hindi, I have to say goodbye. We're up to the end of the show. So thank you again for being on. I love the swaddle, and I always take it with me when I do my workshops and make everybody try it, and then they buy it. So
well, thank you. Thank you so much. I'm honored. Thank you so much for your time.
Oh, thanks. And you have a great rest of your day. Take care.
Thank you, you too.
Bye-bye. Wow, what a great show. Don't forget to visit theollieworld.com. As you know, I love the swaddle, and I did use it on my grandson, and I can tell you it works great, and I want to bring it to my preschool. Next week, my guest will be Danielle Stanger from Neat Cheeks, and I can't wait till she tells you about her product and why every parent of a baby and toddler will want to get Neat Cheeks. I'm not going to tell you what it is. You have to listen. So mark your calendars for Wednesday, May 25th. It's going to be another great show. It's the week before Memorial Day, so you may want Neat Cheeks. You may want to take Neat Cheeks with you when you find out what it is. Also, don't forget to go on Facebook. Baby Instructions and My Best Parenting Advice are my 2 pages. And please like my pages, and if you would, put a comment down. I would love to hear what you think, a favorite tip. Just want to say hello. I'm also on Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest. Love Pinterest. I do Periscopes all the time. Periscopes are the little videos, and I always post them to Facebook, and also my website, mybestparentingadvice.com. So I'd like to leave you today with a little humor out of the mouths of Babes. Baby says, "My plan? I'm going to start crying at 3 a.m. for no reason." And Baby says, "If you see me smiling, it's because I'm thinking of doing something naughty. And if you see me laughing, it's because I've already done it." And finally, "I hate it when Mom says, 'Stop playing with your food.' Like for the first 2 years, you made me think my food was an airplane." Anyway, isn't that so true? I love babies, and I love watching them think and figure things out, and toddlers. Love watching my grandson trying to learn to walk. So anyway, enjoy your babies. Enjoy your children every day. I am so happy you could tune in today. Have a great rest of the week, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.